All right, here we go. Boom. Hey, Greg, how's it going, bud?
Good. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Actually, you know what? We're recording this right after the previous episode, but one thing I forgot to talk about actually is next week.
Don't let him in on our secrets.
Oh, don't let him in our. Oh, come on. People know you got to batch episodes, you know. I forgot to talk about this. We get a little bit of banter. I'm going to Vegas on Saturday.
Ooh.
Yeah, baby, going to Vegas for a conference and for my anniversary. Same thing. How about a win for that? Like there was a conference I wanted to go that was on our anniversary in Vegas. And I'm like, honey, want to go to Vegas for our anniversary and I can go to a conference? And she said, yes.
Okay. First off, conference and anniversary are not the same thing. and what did you sell first, the conference or the anniversary?
I sold Vegas.
So it's Vegas.
I sold Vegas.
Okay. And you just trailed it off with, by the way, there's also a conference I'll be attending that it's going to consume all the days that I'm there. Or did you we're
going to go a day before the conference and we're staying 2 days after the conference. So, it's not like all the time. And on top of that, her sisters are coming too. So while I'm at the conference, her sisters are going to be there to keep her company.
Uh-huh.
Boom.
Uh-huh.
That's how you do it, Greg.
Okay. So they're going to... Okay, I don't know your wife, Joe, but okay. Good luck.
Yeah, did you see the cards I ordered too? I posted them on Instagram the other day.
I did.
Nice,
I did. Where did you order those from?
Moo.com. Pretty nice stuff.
Okay, yep. Yeah, I like Moo.
Yeah, they're super thick. I got the round corners. I'll be honest, I'm not sure next time if I ever order business cards again, I'm not sure I'll get the round corners.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care for the round corners.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna like them because I thought they'd be different, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do like the cards. They're nice.
If we were gonna whip it out, and compare.
No, please don't whip it out, Greg.
I was setting you up for that, Joe. I was setting you up. I meant business cards.
We're on video chat. I don't need that, Greg.
I know. And folks, we have not been drinking.
Yeah, exactly. We are not in Vegas.
Yes. Well, Vegas, Joe's there in mind. Not in spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've already left.
No, what I do with my business cards is I have my chili dog logo in different colors. Mm-hmm. So every business card was a different color of the chili dog logo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like a card deck. It's kind of nice. I like it.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah. My ones before this, basically, I had 3 different kinds. I had one. They had my toolbox on it, and then I had various background colors, and then I had one where it's a little gaudy. Now that I see it, like my picture was the entire back of the card. Like, and now I look at it, I was like, wow, that was really cheesy. But actually, I got a treat for Greg. Not all of you are going to see this one, but Greg, you're going to get a kick out of this.
Oh God. Joe, you haven't prepared me for this.
Hey, so I was cleaning my office recently, and I found my old business cards from when I was doing real estate. Check that out.
Oh God. Oh God. Well, I will say the new one's an improvement.
Yeah.
And for those listening, Joe had a lot less facial hair.
Yes, a lot less. Cool. So, Greg, what are we going to chat about today?
Jinx. I said it first.
Oh.
Yeah. Put you on the spot for once.
I won the spot? Okay. So today, Greg, we are going to be talking about email deliverability. And what does that mean? That basically means like when, you're using either like an email service, like Chili Dog Hosting's new awesome newsletter service, or if you're just sending out email from like a form from your website, how can we ensure that the emails that get sent from all those mechanisms don't get sent to spam and things of that nature? And so there's been quite a few topics on that on the forum and on Weaver Space lately. And yeah, I thought that'd be a good topic to chat about.
Yeah. No, thanks for my idea. Thanks for bringing that up, Joe.
Yeah.
That's a yeah, it seems like Gmail and Hotmail really starting to crack down on this. And to be honest, it's kind of about time that they did this. I've been getting a lot of tickets lately if people are saying, people are submitting my contact forms and I'm not getting them, or they're going into spam. And the major root cause is their DNS. Their DNS lacks what's called an SPF record, and I don't mean sunscreen. It's a record. It's a text record. For those who know what a text record it's a text. Yeah, Joe's putting his hat on.
I got my hat now.
You're going to need that when you go to Vegas. Yeah, you're going to need that in Vegas. It says that this server that this mail is originating from is authorized to send messages on your behalf. So, Google and other email providers see this random message come out and it's from a server they never seen before, saying that, this is coming from Joe. And, they say, well, Joe, this server's not authorized to send on Joe's behalf. So they put it into spam or they outright reject it.
So basically the SPF record, it contains all the IP addresses that an email should be coming from for your domain, correct?
Yes, but it's not as explicit as that, because you can specify plus A, which has, the A record of the site, and then plus MX. So the MX records are authorized. And then you can list domains. You can include extra domains in there. So, you can say include SES or Amazon services, and you're not gonna list every single IP that Amazon owns. You'll never stop. You'll be typing till you're dead. And then you can actually list specific IPs. So yeah, so that's what the major problem is. And then people who lack that that's been the resolution for them. So like if your client changes the A record on their domain to point to your hosting account, and they're not updating their SPF record, and you ask why is their contact on the form on their website not working, that's an example of why it might not be working. Another thing would be like, you can, and this is just a little background, is you can spoof the from address in an email when you send it. Right. So when you submit a contact form, a lot of, some contact forms will set the from address on the email that's sent out as being from the person who submitted the email. So if I fill out the contact form and put my email address in, and, that contact form is going to say that message came from me. But, when I put in my email address, if I said @gmail.com and this message originated, I don't care if it was Chili Dog, I don't care who it was, that server is not a Google server, it's not a Gmail server. So that message will always fail the SPF record test. So, be careful that server, that email address is structured properly and has the right signature and right form. Does that make sense, Joe? Was that clear?
Totally. So basically, we also have to be careful of, also, isn't the reply to what we set up as the reply address important as well? So like it could potentially be, it's better if you have a reply to, an actual reply to address versus like just having, it's from no reply at Weaver Space, right? Actually have a replying address. Doesn't that have a little bit of weight as well, or no? What's your experience there?
I haven't seen that be as much of an issue.
Okay. Well, you definitely want to make sure the from address is your domain though, right? It's not like, so like if you're sending it from, if I'm sending it a form from my Weaver Space website, right? The email address that it's getting sent from should be Weaver Space as well, right?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I didn't catch that
again. So let's say I have a form on joeworkman.net. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm using, it could be Foundation form. It could be a Forms Plus form, whatever. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's sending an email out to, let's say, the person that's filling out the form. Okay.
Yep. At Gmail. We'll say over there at Gmail.
Yes. Let's say it's sending an email to greg@gmail.com. Okay. And basically the from address that email is getting sent from should be a joeworkman.net address. Right.
Yes.
Because I see a lot of people, what they do is they'll have their website on, joeworkman.net, but then they'll put their from address as Gmail. And then a lot of times their host or their server, that won't ever get sent. The person will never get it because the host, a lot of times, which is a good thing, they make sure that the from address is always the same domain as the website you're sending the email from.
It's not so much on the outgoing, it's the incoming. They see the mismatch.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, that if you set that from address being, mac.com, mm-hmm. and you're sending it to a Gmail, Google sees the server that this message came from and says, this server is not associated with mac.com. It's not authorized to send on behalf of mac.com.
There you go. Okay. That makes sense.
And that's when they say this is spam. And, that's going to probably hurt your domain reputation as well. What you can also do, and what Forms Plus does by default, is it doesn't set the from field. So it lets the server set it when it sends out the message. And then it sets the reply to. So, that can be confusing. Some customers don't like it. So I have options where you can overwrite that. But what that does is you get actually, it gets sent from root@theservername.com, mm-hmm. which is always valid because it actually originated from that server. And then the reply to is set to the email that the person specifies. Mm-hmm. The person in Forms Plus specifies.
Yep.
So when that Gmail address, when it arrives at Gmail and the person hits reply, it actually goes back to the right place. It doesn't come back to my server. It goes back to the correct location.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, you can do that too. You don't have to set the from. You can set the reply to instead.
Okay. Yeah. Sweet. So what else can we do, Greg, for email deliverability? So we had SPF, the SPF DNS, setting, or DNS record, I should say. Making sure that, we have the proper, reply to or from address in our forms if we're using a form on our servers, on our websites. What else can we do? Isn't there something called a DKIM as well, which is like a domain key I think it stands for domain key identifier mail or something like that?
Yes. I should have pulled this up for before you quizzed me, I should have pulled it up and read on it. But yes. And what I will do is I will give, so I guess the first things I would say is don't send bulk messages via your personal email. Use a newsletter service. Use MailChimp, use my newsletter service. I don't care. Send your bulk messages through one of those servers.
I think this DKIM thing is mostly for bulk sending services. And it's not for, it's probably not for, I have a form email thing on my webpage, right? Our contact us form, right? The DKIM thing is mostly if you're going to be sending bulk mail out. That's my understanding. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's see. Domain keys identified mail is a method to validate the authenticity of email messages. When an email is sent, it is signed using a private key and then validated on the receiving mail server using a public key that is in the DNS. This process verifies that the message was not altered during transit. So a little different than SPF. Yeah,
it's basically an encryption. It's public-private encryption key.
Yeah. So SPF says the message came from a place that's authorized to send it. This one says that it wasn't changed, altered in transit.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I set up Amazon SES, because I use Amazon's SES service for my bulk email, basically I got the DKIM key from them. And then, I just copied and pasted it into my DNS records. I didn't, try to figure out how to create all that stuff. I just, Amazon just told me, this is the key to use, put this in your DNS record, and I did it. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I like to use a site called Postmark app. I'll give Joe a couple of links to a couple of tools that they have. They have a tool that will, I don't know how it works, but they'll send you a weekly report and tell you how many messages were passing alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure how it works, but it just tells you like these number of messages that they saw for some reason, and this is how many passed this tests, and gives you kind of a report. If you're an advanced user interested in that kind of stuff, that might be, it's actually DMARC, down the one, DMARC. Oh,
yeah, I was going to mention DMARC as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty new one, I think, right? I actually haven't set up any DMARC yet, so that one's pretty new to me. It's been on my to-do list to research that, because I know Google has been really starting to, look at DMARC to, consider things as spam and whatnot. Do you know much about DMARC?
I haven't done it for a while. It's just another text record. So you just create a text record in your subdomain. Let's say DMARC is a standard that allows you to set policies on who can send email for your domain based on Dkim and SPF. If you're new to email authentication, we recommend first reading about SPF and Dkim, which we've kind of touched upon. Mm-hmm. In combination with SPF and Dkim, a DMARC policy in DNS allows you to set rules to reject or quarantine emails from sources you do not know. Through support from ISPs, DMARC allows you to receive reports on sending activity for your domain. Oh, okay. So these companies have a coalition, I guess, to let you get a report on if your messages past DMARC. So, we talk about this, and before somebody goes about implementing all this stuff on their domain, we should really caution them, because you can really mess up your email deliverability on this. So be very careful, because it's very easy to change your SPF record to reject any messages that don't pass your strict rules. And, when things stop working, you don't know what's going on. So thread very lightly.
Basically, you probably shouldn't try to create your own SPF record. You should probably, talk to your host. And
well, on that note, if you go into the email authentication section of your control panel, mm-hmm. there's a nice tool that builds that you can enable the Dkim and modify your SPF records right there. So you can put in the IP address, you can include extra services into it, and it's you can't screw up the format. It's really easy to
automation for the win.
Yes. So, but my point being is that if you say reject something or reject by default, then you can really hurt your emails from getting in the box. So just be careful.
Makes perfect sense.
Yep. Just don't put a hard fail. Well, that's, I think, my brain dump on email deliverability.
Right. I have one more, one interesting story to wrap up this conversation. So it was back in I think it was January, I was testing. So I was moving all the email from being sent from joeworkman.net. So all my new newsletters prior to January were still getting sent from my support@joeworkman.net address. I wanted to send them all from the Weaver Space domain. So I started testing with that, and I noticed that a lot of my stuff was getting sent to spam, even my own, right? So I'd send an email and it was going to my spam folder, and I'm like, what the heck? And so I use a tool called Email on Acid. It's a little expensive. I use it for email testing for my email stacks. But inside there, they have like this spam tool that you could basically, you put your email in and it basically calculates it for spam. And when I was running my email through there, I was getting a score of, it was like a score of like 0.7 or something like that. And basically anything above, and it's a rating of like 0 to 10. It uses this open source thing called Spam Assassin, right? Which a lot of services use. And I was getting a Spam Assassin score of about 0.7. And I'm like, but why in the heck am I getting sent to spam on my own server, my own email provider? And so I was confused. So I went through and I used Fastmail for my personal email. And luckily on their web interface, if you go to the spam folder, it actually gives you the spam score for every email. And I was getting a 5.7. And I'm like, what the heck? When I run it through the Spam Assassin tester and Email on Acid, I was getting like a 0.7. I should be golden. So I emailed Fastmail support and they dug into it. And apparently my domain was flagged by this company called Vade Secure. Not sure why it was flagged, but my domain was flagged by Vade Secure. And Fastmail uses a Vade Secure plugin on top of the normal default Spam Assassin. So what they did was they submitted a ticket on my behalf to Vade Secure. They removed my domain from being blacklisted. And all of a sudden, magically, my email stopped going to spam.
Cool.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yep,
I have a feeling that it was because I was just straight using a .space domain, because I had some other interesting other things similar, like on Facebook. Facebook wasn't allowing me to boost any posts on Facebook that linked to Weaverspace, and it was because they didn't trust a .space domain.
Yeah, I've seen something similar to that. I think the lesson here is don't buy a .space domain.
Yeah. Well, I think they're becoming more common. So I think companies are becoming aware, and they're more willing to unblock that. I sent an email to Facebook. I'm all good there now. And this Vade Secure, when I found that out, I'm all good there now. Are there others out there that could be blocking me? It's possible.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And I was discussing with a client, and we don't have any insight into how or when these databases get updated, right? So we have no insight into their logic. But
none.
Not only do spam filters scan the origins of the message, but they scan the contents of the message. So, if there's images in there that no text and like lots of images, or there's links in the email for domains that are in spam databases, those can get flagged too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, there's all sorts of stuff that can affect your email deliverability, but just, the basic core stuff is what we're talking about. We haven't even touched upon spam filtering and those kind of things. That's like another can of worms. There's all sorts of, Apple Mail does a pretty good job, but that runs locally on the computer. And, you're talking about Fastmail, and, they have a set of filters that they're using, and, say they have that extra plugin, the next guy next door has a totally different set of tools.
Yep, exactly.
So, just because you figured your problem out in one instance doesn't mean it's, solved completely, unfortunately.
I agree. Yep. 100%.
How the internet works. So, but anyways, yeah. So this has been a new thing. It's been hot on the forums. I've been getting a lot of tickets on it. So I know, get these Spf records set up if you haven't already. Chili Dog users, if you haven't, if you joined recently and stuff like that, you're all set. It's on by default now. It used to not be enabled by default in the control panels, but now it's on by default. So I haven't heard from Greg. Yeah. Well, I haven't heard from any of those users because they've been all set. It's the people that are haven't had the SPF records that are inquiring. So I don't know if you've had any. Have you had any people email you about like my foundation forms aren't getting?
Other than so I had a post actually just yesterday. Someone asking, I've used foundation forms, super forms, form looms, everything else, and now he's using Jotform. And saying he was starting to have issues with Jotform with email deliverability. So that's what kind of spurred me to. I thought it'd be a good idea to chat about that. On this show.
My idea.
Yeah.
Still my idea.
I bow down, Greg. I bow down.
Okay. All right. There you go. That's better, Joe. I like that.
Cool, Greg. Well, let's wrap this up. Where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at chilidogsoftware.com and chilidoghosting.com and at Barchard on Twitter.
At Joe. Barchard. I am at Joe Workman everywhere. Instagram. I've been playing around with Instagram stories lately. If you want to follow me over there, I've been having some fun. I actually played the harmonica today on Instagram stories. I bought a harmonica, Greg. Bought a harmonica.
Oh God. Now you get a cowboy hat and a harmonica. Oh my God.
Want to hear a riff? Live on the podcast? Here we go.
Do it. All right.
No stress. Let's see. Should I go corny or bluesy?
You need to play our closing anthem here.
How's that, Greg? Come on.
All right. Now you have to play our opening banter in
So anyway, if you guys enjoy the show, check out all of our great archives over on weaverradio.com. We have a lot of great episodes. I've probably posted, if you've asked questions on the forums, I link to various podcast shows all over the place that help people out. I link to the episode 10 a lot, Greg. It's the show on HTTPS. I link to that show a lot for people, and it's really helped people out. So if you're curious about HTTPS, check out episode 10. It's been a crowd favorite for understanding all of that stuff. Apparently, me and Greg did a good job there. So pat on the back. Pat yourself on the back on that one, Greg.
Episode 10, we're already in a groove. I mean,
yeah. Cool. Well, take care, everybody. We will talk to you next week.
Cheers.